business from start to finish. And with a passionate desire to make you a profitable investor, only Phil teaches you and guides you to make informed, unemotional investment decisions. And you'll gain the knowledge of what Wall Street doesn't want you to know. If you want to learn from the best and strengthen your ability to invest, then turn to Phil Grande and philsgang.com. Simply call Phil's Gang at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. Or go to philsgang.com. Are you ready to get serious about your financial future? Reduce your debt, pay off those student loans, and prepare for retirement. Taking control of your finances can be intimidating, but with philsgang.com, you will be educated and guided to make smart investment decisions in the stock market. If the market is up or down, philsgang.com is the only source where you'll learn how to trade stocks and how to invest in the stock market using professional-level skills and strategies. For more information, go to philsgang.com or call 877-600-GANG, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
Hi, my name is Phil Grande at philsgang.com. The 401k big lie. They tell you invest $10,000 a year for 30 years, compounded at 6% annually. You will have a grand total of $245,000 to retire. That is not true. That is not the truth. What they don't tell you is the hidden fees. There's 27 hidden fees in your 401k. When you're all done, you lose half of what you put aside for your retirement. That's right, half. And another thing, you're not allowed to do individual stocks in a mutual fund. And you're not allowed to make money when stocks go down. That's ridiculous. Would you buy a car with just forward and no reverse? Why would you ever be in a fund that you can't make money when the stock market goes down? Join my gang, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. Aren't you tired of all the nonsense you hear from these financial shows like this?
Should I be worried about Bear Stearns in terms of liquidity and get my money out of there? No, no, no. Bear Stearns is fine.
And then they went bankrupt. This is what I'm talking about. This is crazy. Your 401k. They take half of all the money you put away. Look, it's not about the money you're saving. It's about where you invest it and not in a 401k. Join my gang. Start using charts. I'll teach you how to use a chart so that you can maximize your returns on the money you do have. And the earlier you get started, the better. Join my gang, philsgang.com. philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
Be sure to watch the Phil's Gang Show with Phil Grande, weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on various devices like smartphones, tablets, your computer, and more. Get free access to the Phil's Gang Show right in your hands at home or on the go. Simply go to philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com and click on the Listen Live link. And we'll see you on the charts.
They just told us right away that we're going to house you, we're going to feed you, and every single one of his medical bills is just all taken care of.
They've saved my family from financial ruin. It allowed me and my wife both to focus on the most important thing, which was the health and well-being of our son.
We have phenomenal research, outstanding clinical care, and the generosity of public, which allow us to treat patients regardless of what it takes. And that's what makes St. Jude so magical.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because the only thing a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Doctors send us the toughest cases to be treated at St. Jude, and our patients come from all over the world.
When we come here, they told me, don't worry, everything will be taken care of. We could never repay St. Jude for what they've given us.
Because of you.
Gracias a ti.
Because of you.
There is St. Jude.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. We're a teaching format. Boy, do we give good service. You know, buying a stock doesn't have to be complicated. The reason why Wall Street makes it complicated is so to make you think you need to hire them. You can do better without them, believe me, because you're not going to have those big fees. Come to Phil's Gang, where we'll show you an easy way to buy a stock. philsgang.com, where we don't make it complicated but profitable.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call. That's 877-600-4264. The stocks discussed on Phil's Gang are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering acting on information presented, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice. Get ready for the radio show that tells you what Wall Street doesn't want you to know.
Oh, I'm a money magnet. Money's coming to me. Money sets me free. I'm a money magnet. Money's coming to me.
It's your daily dose of how to manage your money. And now it's time for Phil's Gang on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. With your host, Phil Grande.
We have come a long way in the last 7.5 years. I thank President Obama and Vice President Biden for their leadership in pulling us out of that terrible recession.
Pulling us out of a terrible recession? We were never out of the recession. We haven't ever been out of the recession. That is a bunch of nonsense. Welcome to Phil's Gang, coast to coast around the country, off the Wall Street Radio Network. I'm Phil Grande. I'm your host. That is just a lie. We've never been out of the recession. Never. It's been fake. It's been pretend and extend with all this free money. Print money. Keep printing money. Remember the stimulus? Where'd all that stimulus money go? Nearly $1 trillion stimulus money. Where'd it go? It didn't go into the parts of the economy that would help people get jobs. It didn't go to small businesses to help them buy inventory, buy equipment, buy machinery, train people. Instead, that money went to these foolish green projects like Solandra. Also, where'd the money go to? You take the $800 billion stimulus, much of that money went to different states, went to Democratic governors. When the states were in trouble, Obama took that money, the stimulus money, and he paid the salaries of union police, union fire, and union teachers as a thank you to the governor, the Democratic governor, help him get elected, his support. That doesn't stimulate. When you pay someone payroll, that doesn't stimulate. That's the state's responsibility. Don't take the federal money and give it to the state to pay payroll. Where is this recovery? It's a bunch of nonsense. I've never seen anything like this. They keep telling us there's a recovery going on.
She will be the Democratic nominee for president, and I intend to do everything I can to make certain she will be the next president of the United States.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? My God.
Hillary Clinton understands that we must fix an economy in America that is rigged.
First, remember, she was the enemy. She was with the banks. She was getting $200,000, $300,000, or $200,000, $300,000 for speeches. Remember how upset he was? Now they're buddies. What recovery? Trade deficit alone cost 8 million lost manufacturing jobs. Trade deficits. It's the worst thing you can have is a trade deficit. And we have trade deficits. We keep on We keep on importing all the goods that we possibly get our hands on because wages are so low. And it's the Chinese who lend us money to buy the goods they make. How can you call that a recovery? Are you kidding? Are you nuts? The trade deficit, when we keep on importing all these goods, has an unbelievable, a terrible effect on our manufacturing jobs. Terrible effect. A rising trade deficit indicates that U.S. manufacturing are losing business to manufacturing industries that are in other countries like China and Japan and Vietnam, who manipulate their currency to make their goods cheaper and therefore more appealing to consumers in the United States. That's unbelievable. So what happens? Who wants our goods? Nobody wants our goods. Why would they? There's no demand. It reduces the demand for goods produced by manufacturers. Trade deficit's a terrible thing. Unbelievable. And because there's so many people that lost their job because of trade deficits, 49% of all Americans now live in homes that receive money, some money from the government each month. Much of it is disability checks where they're being paid not to work. And they get paid not to work for the rest of their life. The number of homeless children in the past 6 years under this administration has increased by 58.2%. Do you believe that? You're telling us, boy, keep going with, let's keep going. Let's put Hillary in place. Let's keep the good policies going that Obama put in place. What are you, nuts? Nuts. There are 74 million homeowners where 65% have mortgages. Mortgages, 65%. And of the 65%, nearly 30% are underwater. 74 homeowners, and 65% have a mortgage, mortgaged up to the teeth. They have very little equity. And 30% of the 74, or 30% of the 65% are underwater. They have no equity in their homes. Equity dropped by 38%. 20 trillion in national debt. And the government keeps on running these deficits. 71% of the money we take in goes to entitlements. Think about that. We collect taxes and 71% just goes to entitlements. That's crazy. That's just nuts, isn't it? And Obama, when Obama leaves, imagine what he's leaving behind for the next president, which is going to be Hillary Clinton probably, unfortunately. Or let's say, hopefully, maybe it's Obama, Trump. The new president coming in, whoever it is, will find this administration, was fraught with lying and fraud. Matter of fact, lying and fraud is the cornerstone of this administration. If there's any terrorism, there's a whole bunch of financial terrorism in this administration. That's where the terrorism is. In America, whose national debt has been doubled. So the next president comes in, he's going to see, okay, I'm ready to take over, and the national debt has been doubled. No one from Wall Street's ever been prosecuted. Very few few jobs are full-time and high-paying jobs. Those jobs, anytime a full-time job is disappearing. Our infrastructure is falling apart. Barack Hussein is leaving behind an economy that has been broken by greed, and the gap between the very rich and everyone else is incredible. The new president's going to find that Obama has doubled the amount of people who are paid not to work. Again, disability checks. Barack Hussein has left behind a power structure which the large corporations and the big banks They've aligned themselves with the national and local governments to pursue corporate interests and financial interests that is not in our best interest of the guy on Main Street. Not at all. What are they, all nuts? We'll be right back after this break. Join my gang, Phil's Gang. It's only $39.95. We'll be right back.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. When was the last time you've gotten a raise? Been a long time. When was the last time you got overtime? That's been a long time. Sure, why? What people don't realize is we got two components out there that is killing your standard of living. Free money provided to CEOs from the Federal Reserve, and then the way the CEO is being compensated. CEOs are not compensated on performance anymore. CEOs are compensated on stock options. That's how they make most of their money. So as long as the Federal Reserve will give them money free, they're going to focus on the CEO buying shares back to pop that price up to make that stock option. That's why you're not getting paid. Join my gang, philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. Listen to what Fisher said, the former Fed governor.
We front-loaded at the Federal Reserve an enormous rally in order to accomplish a wealth effect.
That's right. Do you hear that? They took the stock market, front-loaded it, ran at 200%, so we ended up not only with a fake stock market, but fake GDP, fake money, fake jobs, fake prices, fake everything. But we took advantage of that, and we're going to take advantage again. That's why I told my gang in May to short the market. On 5/29, that's May 29th, I'm telling you to short the stock market. And we were right. And the market went down over 11%. That's why you got to join my gang and learn how to short stocks just as much as buying them. Learn how to short with me, Phil Grande at philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264. There is only one talk show host, Phil Grande, who delivers both social and financial talk. Not even Hannity or Rush can deliver a 1-2 punch like that. That's Phil Grande, philsgang.com. Phil Grande is unique, the industry leader, the first talk show host ever to combine social issues and finance into winning stock market ideas. That's Phil Grande, philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. You know, every day we hear from Wall Street, you turn on the TV, and they're telling us how the economy's great, everything's great, and these are the same people that run the 401ks, who, with a 2% fee, take more than half of your money and put it in their pocket. You will never retire comfortably in a 401k. But try to convince 90 million people, it's almost impossible. People just don't listen. They get comfortable and stay with these 401ks. They don't work. You're not going to be able to retire. It's simple. Go to my site, philsgang.com. Join the gang, try it for a month, and we're going to show you how to use a chart. And that is going to put you in such a comfort zone of retirement.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. You know, it's been 7 years now since Obama ordered his Fed chairman to lower the savings rate from 5% to less than 0.25%. With a false narrative, it would spur economic growth and jobs. Everyone would have an opportunity in this economy. That's what he said. But what it spurred was a front-loading of the biggest, fake, unsustainable stock market rally of 200%. That's what it spurred. Now, most people did not participate in that rally because people got out of their 401k in 2009 and they said, just get me out. I want nothing but fixed income. And they got killed because with low interest rates, fixed incomes get murdered. You got to know what you're doing. If you're going to really retire, you got to be associated with the stock market. That's why you come to philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264. Are you ready to make profits in the stock market? Why not check out philsgang.com or give us a call, 877-600-4264. Now, here's Phil.
And welcome back to Phil's Gang. You know, trying to fix the trade deficit, which is killing our economy, killing your job. That's right, killing your job. The $8 trillion trade deficit. But to get rid of the trade deficit means we'd have to stand up against the multinational companies like GE. But GE and companies like them own Congress. They fund their re-elections. The national debt's a job killer. You think they care? Congress cares? Of course not. You think Congress cares? The Affordable Care Act replaced the full-time jobs with part-time jobs? They don't care. Or the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, leads to poverty? You think Congress really cares? Congress, when you look at a congressman, you see him on TV, don't ever think they're there to help us. They're there to help themselves. They're looking for the pension. They're a bunch of phonies. Economic growth. We always hear about economic growth. How the hell are you going to get economic growth with a national debt the size we have? We always talk about the national debt. It's always front and center. Because why? Because all we pay is interest. Can you imagine all we pay is interest on our national debt? $223 billion a year. And guess what? We have to borrow it from China or we print it. We borrow the interest we're paying on the debt. Do you believe this? And they're telling us the economy is really good. The economy is good. Good. Terrific economy. Are you nuts? How can the economy be good? He's going to go down in history as a dope. When Barack Hussein ends his presidency, he's going to go down in history as a dope. He's the only president who didn't order his chairwoman of the Federal Reserve to raise rates when the timing was right, back in 2014, 2015. Think about that. Here we are. The economy right now is much worse in 2016 than it was in 2014, 2015. During that time, 2014, 2015, the narrative kept going and going and going from Aunt B and the president, how the economy is doing terrific. The economy is in a great recovery. And boy, we should raise rates. They never raised them except for the one time, which was a disaster. That was in December. Then we had the worst January in history. But never. The whole idea was never to raise rates. They knew they were going to raise rates. They can't raise rates. Why would you raise rates? Because when you raise rates, the government has to pay more for the money. When you're borrowing $223 billion to pay interest only, it's like you paying interest only on your credit card, never the principal. That's what the country does. We always pay interest. That's it. And we borrow it. So why would they raise rates on themselves? You think they're going to take money at 0% and say, let's run it back up to 3 or 4%? That's where we should be, by the way. Then you'd have a healthy economy. We've been lied to. The Federal Reserve, the banksters, the banking cartel, they've lied to us. They keep saying, you know what, we are going to take all the money that's on our balance sheet, all those treasuries, $41 trillion in treasuries we bought from the banks and everybody else, to keep the 10-year treasury low so we can borrow money at a low price. We're going to finally sell them and let interest rates go back to where they're like water seeking its own level. They're never going to do that. Why would they chance that? Why would they chance paying more than a 0.25%? when they borrowed $223 billion to pay down the debt. Why would they do that? They're never going to do that. And when interest rates are this low, it's killing the economy. You can't have economic growth when it's this low. And by the way, people today, the market's at an all-time new high, and everybody's running around talking about, look at the market's at an all-time new high. Isn't this terrific? Well, first of all, it's at an all-time new high for the wrong reasons. The market went up 127% on the wrong reasons. It went up through stock buybacks and all kinds of tricks, accounting tricks. Over $6 trillion was pushed into the stock market. The stock market's not going up because people are buying stuff and companies are making profit. Stocks are going up 7 times faster than income that these companies are making. Isn't that unbelievable? 7 times faster than the profits they're making. What a bubble we are creating. And guess what? You better watch that 10-year Treasury. That tells you the truth. The yield always tells you the truth. This yield has been it's the lowest now than in 200 years. What does that tell you? There's nothing better than U.S. Treasury because the yield always is honorable. The yield always tells you exactly what the economy is going to look like going forward. And that's why you should join my gang. Because you should be in a position anytime. Hey, if the market's going to go down or the market's going to go up. This market is being controlled by a group of crooked banksters, the banking cartel. And they're continuing to prop up this market and say, oh, we're at all-time new high. What a bubble we have. It's all air underneath it. So I want you to be in a position this time when it cracks and when this bubble pops, you're going to say, thank God it's popping. I am going to be with Phil, and I am going to be making money on the way back down. Thank God I found Phil, because on the way down, I'm finally making money. I get it. I understand it. Markets just don't crash. They take a long time. The market started to crash last May. That's right, last May. And it's still crashing. People don't understand that. It's still crashing. All you have to do is join the gang. All I want you to do is loan. Just want you to give some money to St. Jude. Give some money to St. Jude. That's all. That's why I keep the price at $39.95. I've had that price for $39.95 for 15 years. And then there was a short period it went up to $49.95, which Marta and I never wanted to see that price go up there. And then finally we got that price right back down so that you can buy a good product, get a great service, and then you'll have enough money to give to St. Jude. There's an extra $10 there. Join the gang. But here's the thing. You got to understand, everything that we're being told is a lie. This new high on the stock market is one of the biggest lies we've ever seen. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. When we get back, we're going to take a look at some stocks. Join the gang today, Phil's gang. Steve is right there to take your phone call. Tommy will take your call, 877-600-GANG. I reach out to you, you reach out to St. Jude.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. You know, every day we hear from Wall Street, you turn on the TV, and they're telling us how the economy's great, everything's great. And these are the same people that run the 401ks who, with a 2% fee, take more than half of your money and put it in their pocket. You will never retire comfortably in a 401k. But try to convince 90 million people, it's almost impossible. People just don't listen. They get comfortable and stay with these 401ks. They don't work. You're not going to be able to retire. It's simple. Go to my site, philsgang.com. Join the gang, try it for a month, and we're going to show you how to use a chart. And that is going to put you in such a comfort zone of retirement.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
Hi, my name is Phil Grande at philsgang.com. The 401k big lie. They tell you invest $10,000 a year for 30 years, compounded at 6% annually. You will have a grand total of $245,000 to retire. That is not true. That is not the truth. What they don't tell you is the hidden fees. There's 27 hidden fees in your 401k. When you're all done, you lose half of what you put aside for your retirement. That's right, half. And another thing, you're not allowed to do individual stocks in a mutual fund. And you're not allowed to make money when stocks go down. That's ridiculous. Would you buy a car with just forward and no reverse? Why would you ever be in a fund that you can't make money when the stock market goes down? Join my gang, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264. Phil Grande is a career businessman who has also been an entrepreneur all his life. He has used his business skills to take companies on the abyss of bankruptcy and bringing them back to profitability. Phil has been honored by Inc. magazine for the 500 fastest growing privately held companies and has been recognized with the prestigious Entrepreneur of the Year award. From the real estate to gas and oil industries to the stock market, Phil Grande has mastered his line of business from start to finish. And with a passion and desire to make you a profitable investor, only Phil teaches you and guides you to make informed, unemotional investment decisions. And you'll gain the knowledge of what Wall Street doesn't want you to know. If you want to learn from the best and strengthen your ability to invest, then turn to Phil Grande and philsgang.com. Simply call Phil's Gang at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. Or go to philsgang.com.
Be sure to watch the Phil's Gang Show with Phil Grande, weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on various devices like smartphones, tablets, your computer, and more. Get free access to the Phil's Gang Show right in your hands at home or on the go. Simply go to philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com and click on the Listen Live link. And we'll see you on the charts.
They just told us right away that we're going to house you, we're going to feed you, and every single one of his medical bills is just all taken care of.
They've saved my family from financial ruin. It allowed me and my wife both to focus on the most important thing, which was the health and well-being of our son.
We have phenomenal research, outstanding clinical care, and the generosity of public, which allow us to treat patients regardless of what it takes. And that's what makes St. Jude so magical.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because the only thing a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Doctors send us the toughest cases to be treated at St. Jude, and our patients come from all over the world.
When we come here, they told me, don't worry, everything being taken care of. We could never repay St. Jude for what they've given us.
Because of you.
Gracias a ti.
Because of you.
There is St. Jude.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. You know, we come in the morning, we have what we call coffee talk. But we just don't sit around and throw the bull, okay, or joke or laugh. Our coffee talk is serious. Every morning before you start out investing, we have an intense discussion on what is going on and where we should be investing. Because it's all about not the money, but where you're putting that money. Join my gang, philsgang.com, and enjoy the best coffee in town.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. Welcome back to the Phil's Gang Show. This segment is brought to you by philsgang.com.
Our economy is steadily growing, and since I took office, the stock market has more than doubled.
More than double. More than double. Through financial engineering? Through accounting tricks? Are you kidding me? Through printing of money that has destroyed our economy? All that printing of money has destroyed our economy. When you keep printing money and you keep rates at 0%, you're screwed. Because good economies come from savings and business spending and good, meaningful jobs and hard work. And most important, productivity. It comes from capital investment. But guess what? We didn't get any of that. Not when you keep printing and printing and printing and going into debt, because this Obamacare. The stock market is at an all-time new high. Nothing to celebrate. It would be a wonderful celebration if it was, we could look back and say, look at the earnings growth. Look at our earnings growth, up 8% every year. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? Look at the company's margins. Wow. Look how their margins are increasing. Look at the company's free cash flow. Our companies in the S&P 500, look at their free cash flow. Isn't that terrific? Wouldn't that be something to celebrate? And this is where you people are in 401ks will get screwed because you're going to do nothing. You're just going to stay there, even though I preach to you every day that there is no match. We talked about this yesterday. You do not get free money from your employer. That's a bunch of BS. I could talk to, I'm blue in the face to somebody and show them on paper. I could show them one company. If you go work for this company, you will get paid $65,000. But because you work for a company that they're matching, you have a 401k, the other company you're getting $65,000 with no 401k. And you're better off, and that company's better off because that person can take the money and buy the exchange traded fund called Spiders. It has hardly any fees at all. And if you use my chart to follow it with, and just follow me with the Spiders, let me do it for you, you'll do well. But no, you won't do that. You're going to stay with these stupid mutual funds and say, oh yeah, but I get a match. I told you, you don't. A company, go look, a company who doesn't do a 401k, doesn't do any matches, they pay $65,000. You're being paid $60,000. $5,000 less. Why? Because remember, whatever they give you as a match, they take it from you. They lower what they pay you. That's right. And they always trick you. Everybody thinks they get this match at one foul swoop, one big lump. No, you don't. They do it over 6 years. Why 6 years? Because it's proven that only 12% of the workers in this country stay for 6 years. So you're being screwed every day in a 401k. When you go to a company, you sign for a 401k, they're making money, not you. You got screwed. They know you're not going to stay there 6 years. And when you walk out, you're not going to get that match. There is no match. You're going to leave that money behind, but you never got the match to begin with. But you can't tell people that. You can't tell people that they're going to pay a 2% fee. For every 1% you pay, you lose 30% of whatever money you saved. So if you saved $1 million in your 401k, and you just paid 1% fee, which nobody pays, you're going to lose $300,000 right there. But most people pay 2%. Matter of fact, many people pay 3%. 2%, you lose 65% of all the money. $650,000 comes away from that million. That's right. They take it out of that million, and they put it in their pocket. So look, we're looking at a stock today. I can put it on the chart, Goldman Sachs. What do you need a 401k for? I don't get it. The stock on my MV2 has turned green. Turned green. Now, what is wrong with when that stock just turned green and it went from 100 and let's say we'll start at $144. $144. Go 145. Let it turn green for one day. The second day we decide again. 145. Today it's $157. $157. So you got a 9% return in 4 days. Say you got a 5% return. You got in late. 5% return on your money in 5 days. What's wrong with that? 5% return. 5% every month, that's a 72% return at the end of the year. Nobody's going to ever make that, but you get my point? 5%. So, you join the gang. I point out to you, Goldman Sachs, these banks are getting clobbered. The banks are getting clobbered because they didn't raise rates. When they didn't raise rates, these banks are getting clobbered. And here's the problem with the market going up. As the market keeps going up and up and up because it's being forced up, being pushed up, because they're forcing all these countries who buy our debt not to buy our debt, but to go into the stock market to keep this market up, keep it up here artificially. When the inflation starts hitting or stops, and then the deflation hits, where people got to pay back their debt, they can't buy stuff anymore, That means prices, and they can't borrow, they can't buy, and then just like what happened with the dot-coms, just like the housing con, then what happens? Prices start to drop. That's what happened with the tech con. That's what happened with the housing con. Prices start to drop. And when prices start to drop, people lose their job. Because prices drop, companies don't make money, lose their job. And then that's when the stock market crashes. You think this is going to be any different? This is going to be worse. So all you do is in the morning, if you want to come to my coffee talk, I'll talk about Goldman Sachs. You have, with my membership, we're available on all your mobile devices, so you can put up Goldman Sachs anytime during the day, and you can see what we're telling you to do with Goldman Sachs. How easy is that? Here's a stock that got beaten down. Here's another one. How about copper? Copper has gotten beaten to death. Beaten to death. So, but nobody wants copper. Really? Nobody wanted gold either in December of last year. Now we're up, my gang's up over 100%. So let's take copper, FCX. Beautiful. Beautiful. Copper, I mean, this thing is so butt ugly, the mother wouldn't even want it. Copper's mother wouldn't even want it. It would say, no, that's not my baby copper. Now look what happened today. It's been consolidating. It's gone up. Had a nice little day today. In the last few days, it's gone from $10.55 up to $13. It turned from red to green. A 23% in the last 4 days on a stock that nobody wanted. But because you're a gang member and you have my chart that turns from red to green, and then in the morning and all through the day, you just go to one of your mobile devices, and we're in touch with you all day long. You know exactly what to do. It's not complicated. I just tell you, okay, buy some more of it. Don't buy more of it. Take some profits. Okay, let's add a lot more. It's as simple as that. Isn't that better than being in a dopey 401k where it's a scam, it's a fraud? Go on your computer and pick up, and just go Google it up. Search 401k lawsuits. See how many there are. Because when this thing started 30 years ago, now they're starting to show up because people are starting to retire now, and they're going, wait a minute. I didn't know I was paying these kind of fees. Well, you are. Then they start suing. Here's my number, 877-600-GANG. My job will just stay with 5 stocks all year. That's for just 5. And we pick some bonus stocks. And when we pick a bonus stock like Goldman Sachs or like copper, we stay with you. And when it turns from red to green, we guide you. You have coffee talk in the morning, updates all day long. Just go to your phone. Take you 2 minutes. You're at work. Take 30 seconds at work. Look, see, well, where am I with my FCX? What's Phil telling me to do with it now? I'm like your babysitter. For $39.95, try it. Here's the number, 877-600-GANG. They're at the phones right now. Talk to Steven, Tommy, we'll take your call, or Alex. We'll be right back.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. Listen to what Fisher said, the former Fed governor.
We front-loaded at the Federal Reserve an enormous rally in order to accomplish the wealth effect.
That's right. Did you hear that? They took the stock market, front-loaded it, ran at 200%, so we ended up not only with a fake stock market, but fake GDP, fake money, fake jobs, fake prices, fake everything. But we took advantage of that, and we're going to take advantage again. That's why I told my gang in May to short the market on 5/29. That's May 29th. I'm telling you to short the stock market. And we were right. And the market went down over 11%. That's why you got to join my gang and learn how to short stocks just as much as buying them. Learn how to short with me, Phil Grande at philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Be sure to watch the Phil's Gang Show with Phil Grande, weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on various devices like smartphones, tablets, your computer, and more. Get free access to the Phil's Gang Show right in your hands at home or on the go. Simply go to philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com and click on the Listen Live link. And we'll see you on the charts.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. You know, every day we hear from Wall Street, you turn on the TV, and they're telling us how the economy's great, everything's great, and these are the same people that run the 401ks who, with a 2% fee, take more than half of your money and put it in their pocket. You will never retire comfortably in a 401k. But try to convince 90 million people, it's almost impossible. People just don't listen. They get comfortable and stay with these 401ks. They don't work. You're not going to be able to retire. It's simple. Go to my site, philsgang.com. Join the gang, try it for a month, and we're going to show you how to use a chart. And that is going to put you in such a comfort zone of retirement.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
Every single one of his medical bills, everything is just all taken care of.
We have phenomenal research, outstanding clinical care, and the generosity of public, which allow us to treat patients regardless of what it takes.
At St. Jude, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because the only thing a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Because of you.
Gracias a ti. Because of you.
There is St. Jude.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. Aren't you tired of all the nonsense you hear from these financial shows like this?
Should I be worried about Bear Stearns in terms of liquidity and get my money out of there? No, no, no. Bear Stearns is fine.
And then they went bankrupt. This is what I'm talking about. This is crazy. Your 401k, they take half of all the money you put away. Look, it's not about the money you're saving. It's about where you invest it and not in a 401k. Join my gang. Start using charts. I'll teach you how to use a chart so that you can maximize your returns on the money you do have. And the earlier you get started, the better. Join my gang, philsgang.com. philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264. Welcome back to Phil's Gang Radio Show. For more information, simply go to philsgang.com. Now, here's Phil.
And welcome back to Phil's Gang. Okay. There's stocks right now that have been rallying, and because they're being forced up, but there's lagger stocks. Copper is one of them. Now, if you remember, last December, I said to my gang, 2016, you'll remember me for gold. We're going to buy in December when nobody wants it, and we're going to put it on our MV2, our color-coded chart, and we're going to follow it. And that's what we did. And our golds, our mining stocks are up over 100%. Now, I'm not saying every gang member got 100%. I'm not saying that at all. They had the opportunity for the 100%. Maybe some got 20. Maybe some got 30. Maybe somebody got it all. I don't know. But the important thing is to identify the entry level. And that's what I do for you. I'll keep doing that for you when I find good stocks. You go to your laptop or you go to your cell phone and you say, okay, oh, this is the one right here. Phil wants us to buy this one. 1, 2 at a time. That's it. That's all you need. No, what do you think? You need to know the market cap and the trailing PE and the forward PE and the price to sales and price to all that crap. You don't need to know anything. All you need to know is that it turned green. It's so simple, it sounds silly. It's so simple, it sounds silly. That's all it is. It tells me if Vanguard Group or BlackRock or T. Rowe Price or Bank of New York Mellon, J.P. Morgan Chase, these are the same. Franklin Resources, Dodge and Koch, Northern Trust Corporation, they all buy the same stock. They buy them all the top stocks, the top brands. So if it turns green, they're buying. And we watch our chart, and it tells us when to get out. They're not buying anymore. For $39.95, what are you going to do? You're going to rely on these morons, these money managers? What, you think they care about you? What are you, nuts? Barack Hussein didn't care about us. Here's what really he's going to be known for. Not for his stupid health care. Not that he lied to us about we could keep our insurance when he knew we couldn't. Not that he lied to us about we could keep our doctor when he knew we couldn't. Not when he lied to us that he'd be the most transparent president, and he wasn't. He's going to be known for the dope, the only president who didn't order his chairwoman of the Federal Reserve, the banking cartel, the gangsters, to raise rates when the timing was right between 2014 and 2015, when we had financially engineered the stock market almost to perfection, creating an illusion we were in an economic recovery, creating illusion for 2 years that Aunt B kept going out and saying we're going to raise rates for 2 years, that we're in a beautiful recovery, and she knew we weren't in a recovery. She knew she wasn't going to raise rates for 2 years. And during that 2 years, she should have had interest rates up. So now, when we're really in deep doo-doo, when things are really bad, remember, don't judge the stock market. Go look at durable goods. That tells you how strong the economy is. That is the perfect one, durable goods. The yield on the 10-year Treasury, that's always right, just like durable goods. It is telling us we are in deep trouble, worse trouble than we were in 2008 and 2009. He should have, if he raised rates right now, he could have backstopped. If he raised rates in 2014, 2015, he could have backstopped what's going on. He should be lowering rates right now, and we wouldn't go through another recession and another stock market crash. Unbelievable. But for 2 years, he kept using that narrative, and he wouldn't give up on it. It was a lie he loved. So he missed a window of opportunity to raise rates. His timing was the worst. Yellen raised rates at 25 basis points at the worst time ever, when we had quarter after quarter of negative earnings growth. The wheels were coming off manufacturing, factory orders, and industrial production, durable goods, the weakest in 10 years, and she raises at 25 basis points. And what happened in January? The market collapsed. 14% went straight down. Productivity dropped. And when productivity drops, your wages drop. And so did our labor participation rate, which has been the lowest in 20 years. Obama was creating mostly part-time jobs as a result of that stupid health care mandate he put on companies. If he had raised rates 2014, 2015, we'd be backstopping right now. Yeah, the economic data right now is worse than in 2014, 2005. With household debt at a $60 trillion, it's gone up to $60 trillion. You can't sustain an economy when you have a household debt of $60 trillion. He could have averted that. But he didn't. The bond market is the best predictor of the economy going forward. And right now it's telling us we're going to have one of the biggest stock market crashes and one of the worst economies ever going forward. Obama, Barack Hussein Obama, he had the perfect prescription to fix this bad, slow economy. It wasn't growing. All he had to do was create an environment for the small businesses to succeed. They create 85% of the jobs. That's all he had to do, but he didn't want to do that. If he did that, he would increase savings. From that, business spending would have happened. Capital investment would have happened. We would have been golden now. Our growth would have been 3%, GDP 3 to 4%, which means we would have been creating about 325,000 jobs every month, good paying full-time jobs, not part-time bartending jobs. Are you kidding? Obama is going to leave behind a mess. 8 years of his policies, and we're worse off now than ever. So what are you going to do? Sit there and cry? No. You're going to do like copper, like we did with gold. You follow me. Just go to philsgang.com, or here's the best thing. Call now, 877-600-GANG. I'm reaching out to you. You're going to have an alternative. I'm not saying you get out of your 401k. You'll never will anyways. But once you start seeing, hey, this works, and then you talk to the next person and say, you know what, this really works. I joined Phil. He's right. And I bought this stock, and we just stayed with one stock, and I get it on my cell phone, I go on my laptop, I go on my tablet, I can go any minute, see exactly what's going on. It keeps me up to date. Alerts all day on that stock. I'm never alone. He's helping me. I'm never alone. And because everything's archived. Everything's archived. McDonald's. There's another one. That's going to be a winner. That's gotten crushed. Oh, Ralph Lauren. That is going to be a real winner. Ralph Lauren? Are you kidding me? Ralph Lauren stinks. They gotten clobbered. Ralph Lauren's gotten clobbered. That is a brand. That is a big brand. Look at this. In the last year, Ralph Lauren dropped from about $157 down to $86. Down to $86. So you join. That's about a 45% drop. These are the stocks we want. Brand names. And we're not buying it because of its return on assets or return on equity, or Ralph Lauren makes cool stuff. I could care less. Right now, I look at my MV2. It's red. You know what's telling me? Not to buy it. That's the real value of these charts of MVT2, is tell you when not to buy something. That's the real value. Your broker, your planner, or if you're in a 401k mutual fund, they're in there right now churning your stocks. They're day trading. They're stealing from the 86 million people that have 401ks. They're stealing today $160 million in commissions they should not be taking. They're burning and churning. What they're doing is sitting at their desk, and they're just burning and churning you, putting in order after order after order. Buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. So they can really wrap up the commissions. Really wrap up the commissions. What good is that? And here's the thing: you can't buy or sell a stock. You only can buy. You can't sell stock. You can't make money when the market go down. You can't buy an individual stock when you're in a 401k. The best return in 401k makes about 1.8% annually. What are you, nuts? I just showed you. I gave you a stock here, copper. It's up over what? I just said 5%, I think. And that would, or more than that, 10% in what, 5 days? On your 401k, you make 1.8% annually. Now, if you think I'm not telling you the truth, well, you join the gang. At the end of the month, if I'm a big BSer, you just stop. You have no contract with me. Look, I'm going to reach out to you right now. Call 877-600-GANG, and then when you're making some money, all I want you to do is reach back to St. Jude. Just $39.95. That's it. Call now. Steve is there. Alex is there. They'll take your call. Tom is there. That's 877-600-GANG. You got to do something, for God's sakes.
You have been listening to Phil's Gang with your host, Phil Grande, on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Remember to visit Phil's website at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Or call the office, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
It's up to me to make my dreams.
Hi, my name is Phil Grande at philsgang.com. The 401k big lie. They tell you invest $10,000 a year for 30 years, compounded at 6% annually. You will have a grand total of